All right, so I always make these mistakes. All right, hello everybody, welcome. Today we are going to do something interesting. So I decided we'll just move away from the basic, syntax study to actually building something more challenging. So today I chose to build a simple tic-tac-toe game. So we'll just jump straight into it, and along the way we'll figure out certain things and try to learn new stuff, right? Okay, so let's start with this part here. I'll just come here. Let's sit into projects, YouTube, and I'll say ls. Okay, tic-tac-toe, like this, and then I had to sit into it. Anyways, so let's clear this. Come on. All right, so we are here now. We'll create our index.c file, or this time around let's call it app.c, right? Okay, so we are here. Our file is created, and as usual we first of all need to go into insert mode and put in the header file here, stdio.h, and int main. You don't need to put anything there, it might be void, but let's just try this out. Printf, say hello world, like this. Okay, we just new line. Okay, close this off, and then come here. Okay, so we just close this off. Now let's go back, write this file. So anytime you make a change to the file, you need to save it, and to save it in Vim, you have to write it by going to the command mode and pressing on W, and it will write it. So let's open our terminal. So I'll say vertical. I like the vertical terminal instead, so we have it here. I'll clear this again and compile our code. So I like using the short command. Otherwise you might have to do gcc-o app.c and gcc app.c-o into a new file. You can call it anything. I'll just say init, and this will compile successfully. And if you do ls, you can see init is created and it's highlighted in green. So we then need to run the code for init. So I'll just say init, and then you can see hello world on the screen. Well, that's just a quick intro. So let's actually get into the job. So we'll move on to the next tab here, or next window. So you press on Ctrl W and L because we are moving to the left. All right, you can see my cursor has moved to this side. So what we need to do, you can close the window. Since we are not using the terminal for now, we can just close it. So just come here, go to insert mode, and let's just go here. Quit the terminal. Hold on. For some reason, why is this now? Okay, I can do control backslash control N, and then come here. So it's now in normal Vim mode. So I can just do this and quit it here. First quit. Actually, this is not the right way to do it, but it's because I've forgotten how to close the terminal. So let's just go ahead and write the code. So we want to build a tic-tac-toe game, right? So okay, let me undo this. Let me show you what a tic-tac-toe is. I mean, most of us are familiar with what tic-tac-toe is. It's basically a board game where each player takes a turn, sorry, to, so you can see it here. So select so basically Google even has like an entire interface to play tic-tac-toe. So you can choose the player type you want. So usually it's X and O. So I'll say X, and then, you know, I think, yeah, I'll put my X here. So this is popped up automatically, and let's come here. Okay, gotcha. So here. Oh wow, you see, I was beaten. Christ. Okay, basically, you know what it is now. I mean, let me zoom in properly for you to see it again. So basically, the game is 2 players, right? They both take turns. So I'll come here, the next player plays, I'll put my own here, I think. Let me trick this. Okay, here and here, then it's draw. Okay, yeah, so that's what we are going to build today, but we first of all need the logic for the game. So what I would do instead, I'll just scally draw, I think. So let's just draw out the logic and try to understand what we are trying to do here. Okay, so go to dark mode, scally draw, please. Yeah. All right, so we'll start with this place here. So basically the game looks something like this. We'll first of all need a way to draw the board, right? So it's a game of 3 rows by 3 columns. So you can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry. 8 is here, and then we have 9. So you can see it's a 3 by 3, 3 rows, 3 columns. Okay, so how do we represent this? How do we draw this board in C? Well, first of all, we need so we already know about arrays. Obviously, we are going to use arrays. Then we need a type of array. So we will need like a 2D array, right? A 2-dimensional array. A 2-dimensional array, 2D array, that will contain a 3 by 3 sub array, well, you know, internal array. So what I mean by that is we'll have an array, a bigger array, right, that has 3 that has a second array, a child array, right? And this child array will contain 3 items. So let me just say 1, 2, 3, like this. And then it will have another child array, and then we'll go 4, 5, 6. I think 4, 5, 6, and then another one, 6. Oh, it will be 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, and then 9, like this, and that will be it. So this is our 2D array. So it's a 3 by 3 array, 3 by 3, meaning the main array has a length of 3, and then the internal arrays also has a length of 3. So now how do we write this in C? So what we will do, we'll first create our array. So I already did something similar, and then we'll now iterate through the array to actually draw out the board. So I'll move this to the side here while I have a look at it, and then we can come here and I'll just copy this over. I already wrote a board code like this, and I'll explain why I'm doing it this way. So let's go back up to this line. I'll move here. Okay, to the end of this line here. Let's clear everything inside the curly braces, and then we are already in insert mode. So what I would do is I'll just, okay, you know what, let's just paste it here. Okay, so this is a 3x3 array. This is how you create sorry this is how you create a 3x3 array in C. So first of all, we need the type of the values that are going to be inside this array. So I use char because we need an empty string, right? And since this is going to contain a single value, this is where we'll be inserting the X and O values. So we just need to use the char data type, right? So now what we'll need to do is to iterate through this char array and then draw out the lines to actually print out the content of this array onto the board, so it looks more like the board of tic-tac-toe. So we first start with so we want to iterate a certain number of time, but this is going to be a loop within a loop. So it's going to be a nested loop because we have to iterate through the first level, right? The first level is this is level 1, and then the second level is the internal value of the child element of this main array. So here's what we'll do. I'll write a for loop here. So for, since I already know the value of this, what do you call it? Since I already know the length of the board itself, the length of the board is 3, right? So we'll just go ahead and use 3 instead of finding the length of the board. So again, we'll just do for int I, because you have to define the value, the data type of your index or your iterator index. So here I, this is basically, this is more similar to JavaScript. So I is less than 3. Now the reason why we do less than 3 is because we don't want to iterate up to 3. So we start counting from 0 all the way to 2. And if you start counting from 0 to 2, you already have 3 elements. So again, I is less than 3, and then we'll do I plus plus. Now this is level 1. We are iterating at the first level, right? So now we want to iterate within this again so that we can take out each of these elements here or each of these spaces here. All right, so we'll do for, again, this time around, let's use j. So int j is equal to 0. Again, without, we need to start counting from 0 because the item within this array, this main board here, are also indexed from 0 to 2. Even though there are 3 items, we remember we start counting from 0. So counting from 0 all the way to 2 is 3 elements. So here j is equal to 0. J again is less than 3 because we already know the size, and you can see it here. We said this is going to be a 3 by 3 array. Okay, so and then we'll do j plus plus. All right, so let's close this and come back here. Now this is where we'll begin to, you know, write out the logic for how we want the box to be drawn. So remember, when I come, let me come back here and just show you this board quickly. When you look at this board, right? So let's create our I think we can just leave this here. Okay, let's come back here. You see, this is a 3 by 3 array, right? And our box looks something like this. We have space, and then this 1, 2. Okay, so we have 1 bar, 1, 2, 3 bars, and then, you know, our second loop will help us draw the line below it. So we want to draw 3 lines, right? Well, we'll know how to do that. And then we go again. So maybe it will look something like this. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the next loop will start again. We'll draw another one. So this time around, this is the first iteration of I, right? And when we are printing out this, okay, when we are printing out the horizontal lines, or we can even do it this way. We can print the horizontal lines with J and then print the vertical lines with I. It doesn't matter, whichever one you prefer. So we can go, the second iteration will start here, right? So this will be, this is level 1, I'll put L1 here, and this will be level 2, I'll put L2 here. So now we can print this vertical line and then this other vertical line here, and then we'll go again 1 2. Okay, let's just do it so that it connects properly. 1 2 and then 3, right? So now you can see we already have a 3x2 box, right? So it's left with the last, the L3 with the level 3. So we'll go again 1 2, let me draw this properly, 1 2 and then 3. Then we'll go 1 2 and then 3. Now you can see we have the box fully drawn out, right? So we can go 1 2, let me just use a different color. We can start counting like this. So we'll say 1 2. This is where we'll put the X and O, right? So let's just put some numbers here. 1 2 3 4 5 is here. We have 6 7 8 9, right? So yeah, so we need this iteration. We have to iterate twice to be able to draw this line properly. Okay, so first of all, let's close this quickly. So within this loop here, okay, let me bring this back, put it to the side. Okay, now within this loop, we can either decide to print out the horizontal line or the vertical line, but I think the vertical line is easier to print first and then the horizontal line. So again, we'll do print F, right? Print F. Now we want to print something, right? We're not just randomly like printing out any kind of value. We want to print out the first value within this sub array here, and it's an empty string. So this is what will create that space inside of the box, right? So again, this is what the cell ahead, so the cell will look like. So again, since we are printing out the value of this array, and the type of the array itself is already a char, right? I don't know how to say it, but anyways, we'll just say char for now. So we use the C. C is the what do you call it again? The format specifier for char variable or char data types. So again, we print C, and then we'll put in the vertical line here like this, right? And then we'll go ahead and print in the value. Now, how do we access this value here? We already know the board, right? The board is our, so I just did autocomplete with Control N, right? So it will just autocomplete it for you inside of Vim, and then we'll do this. So we try to access the value at a specific index. So we have to go from level 1 to level 2. So level 1 is at index I. This means the first item in this array at this first iteration here, and the first item in this board array here is an array. So to access the value, we have to also go down a little bit, which is level 2, and then we put it here like this and close the array. Now so this will print our vertical lines. So we need the horizontal lines. So do print F. So outside of this loop, right? Because once this loop runs, this inner loop here, this will run 3 times before this other one runs again, right? This will run 3 times. So it will help us print out the horizontal, the vertical lines. And then this one here outside of the inner loop will help us print the horizontal line. Now, one thing I did here was to use line breaks, right? So I print new lines for each time the outer loop runs, So again, this is how I did it. So I first started with a new line, because a new line will shift away from these horizontal lines here. So here's what we need to do. So to print a new line, you do Control N. You do /N, and then go 2. Now the reason why I'm doing 2 is because 2 dash is actually equivalent to 1 space like this. So I'll just use it like that, and then I'm putting another additional horizontal line. I'll show you the reason why in a bit, but let's go ahead and do it this way. So we'll put this here like this one here, and then the last part here like this. So we'll go 1 1 2, and then break here. So N. So now we don't need to specify any format for this. The reason why we add this line break here is because the next iteration has to start on a new line, so that this vertical line here can be properly, printed at the right position. So here, let's just close this now, and then we can exit Vim now. So let's save this file. So right, and let's try to run this. I'll say vertical. Okay, cool. Right, so it's here. I hope you can see this very well. So let me just increase this a little bit. All right, we need to compile this code. You saw that I did a compilation here before, so this will still keep the hello world we did initially. So now I can just use a different type of compilation command. So I'll do cc app.c. All right, our compilation was successful. Let's clear this and see what we got. So if you do ls, you can see there is an a.out file that is created for us, and then we can just run it by putting /a.out, and hopefully we will see our board drawn on the screen. And there you go. So we have our tic-tac-toe board, but something is missing. You can see there's still a little bit of space, right? And watch this too. You see where I added the extra horizontal line? If we did not have this, right? If we didn't have this extra horizontal line, so let me go to here. Okay, it's not there, so I'll move down 3, I think. Yeah, so we are here, move forward. Okay, yeah. So if we did not have this extra horizontal lines, vertical lines, sorry, I keep making that mistake. So let's go back up here. I'll delete this X and delete this X. So if we had done it this way, right, let's write and go back and compile and run it again. So I'll just clear this and then run it again. So let's compile cc app.c, compilation successful, and a.out. Now you can see the horizontal lines are not properly connected to the vertical ones, right? Because we have this extra space there. So we needed a way to properly align this so that it shows, in the right position. We might not have a perfect grid, but we can get close to something decent. So let's go here. I will undo whatever I did before. So by pressing U, and then I can just move forward to this place and append a new dash, exit, right this, move to this side, clear, and we'll have a better grid drawn out for us this time around, because I added a new the horizontal line here, right here, this horizontal line here, and the vertical lines are back, so this will be properly drawn out. And mind you, we have a space here, right? This is just to add that extra gap, otherwise it will look small and the board will look a little bit funny. So let's go and do this. A dot out, and you can see we have a much more decent looking board now. I mean, it's not perfect, but you can see we have the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on up to the last ones here, right? So again, we can make this better, but for the purpose of this video, we can just leave it like that and move on to the next part. Let me see how much time I have got left. All right, I think we will continue tomorrow. It's already 25 minutes. Okay. All right, I guess we'll continue tomorrow. Hello, Campfire Stories. Thank you very much for tuning in. Right, okay. We'll continue the rest tomorrow. We just printed the board today. We'll learn how to insert those values, how to check when somebody has completed the goal, or game over, right? We'll write the logic for game over and so on. All right,